going to give you a quick demo of our CTN Network website, ctnnetwork.net. Join our community. It is free. You just type in ctnnetwork.net, and this is the homepage right here. And if you want to create an account, you would just click up here and create new account right here. Sign up with your email, or you can sign up with just clicking on Facebook or Google. So you can sign up with your Facebook account or your Gmail. So I'm already signed up, so I'm going to click in Gmail right here, and it's going to log me in. And as you can see, this is our homepage. Click on creators right here, and this shows you all the CTN family members that are content creators. Everybody is on here. If you want to go to one of their YouTube channels, for example, if you want to go to Crypto Talk Now, just click on channel, and it takes you right over to the YouTube channel for that particular creator. And you click on community. This is our community right here. We do have a forum, and this is a forum where you can post things, you can interact with one another. And there's also a blog right over here that we post our own content on. And if you click on CTN Studios, you can watch our live show and other content creators' live shows right through this CTN Studios. We do have advertisements for some of the content creators. There's the Crypto Smith, there's Waddy, the Crypto Hunter, and we also have live charts for the ISOs right in this box right here. We have a feature where you click on the heart if you want to donate to us. You can donate with Ethereum or Binance, BNB. And also, if you click on this button right here, we're going to have a call-in feature, which is already live. If you want to call us, just click on the green icon, the green phone icon, and click on call now. And during the show, between 9:15 and 10, when we announce it, when Max is on or when I'm on with Max, we will start accepting phone calls, and you guys can be live with the show. If you want to turn your video on, you can come on camera as well. So good stuff there. Now back onto the homepage. If you click on members, you can see all the people that are members here. All these people here, like Chaka just signed up, Gills33, Miguel. All these people here are members of our community. So you guys can sign up, and then you can chat with one another. So you can either click over here, message right here. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm just going to welcome him. I'll send him a quick message, and then I can click enter or just a little arrow. If you want to message somebody else, you can click on message, or you can go right over here into members chat and go ahead and message them and create a new chat if you want by clicking this little button right here. Now also, if you scroll down here, you can see some of the past videos that our content creators in our content creator family have created. You can go in here and watch some of the recorded videos. They're scrolling down here. Just choose one to watch. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching this brief demo. Make sure you sign up so you can interact and be part of the community when we are not on the live show.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for being here tonight. It's going to be a great show. Yesterday's show, oh my goodness, 91 concurrence. Something like 2,000 people or something like that watched the show, views or whatever. Unbelievable. Yeah, I went the distance, but you know what? It was great doing that countdown with you guys. Some people called it Stardock said something like it was the a WrestleMania type event. I don't know about that, but it was pretty cool. We got Sean the Crypto Smith in the house. How you doing tonight, Sean? Sean, you're actually muted.
There we go.
Okay. I was wondering if I was muted. I was like, what's going on?
No, what's going on? I did that the other day on my live stream like an idiot.
No, that's okay.
I forgot to add myself to the stream. So I was talking to myself for a little bit. I am good. I can't complain. Things are going, looks like they're going okay out in the ISO world now that we live in.
Yeah, so far, right?
So far, yeah. So far, so good.
So before we kick into comments, I want to state this. So, you know, for Monday shows, if you guys are accustomed to this by now, by the way, smash that like where we can get the show out to more of a broader base of, you know, viewers and so on. But if you're already accustomed to the show, on Mondays, we have like one big hot topic, and that kind of goes with the flow of the show. So with that said, just give you guys a heads up. Today's flow, can you guess what's going to be? I know Crypto Smith knows what's going to be.
Oh, I know.
ISO 222. Yes.
No way.
Yes.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. The big day, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's start things off and welcome our wonderful community that we have here tonight. Really appreciate you guys. You guys freaking rock. And no, if you know, who was it? Was it Bobby Loretti or somebody else? Maybe it was Blackwood. Somebody mentioned last night, you know, hey man, I'm ready to go. I packed a lunch. And then by the end of the thing, he's like, my lunch has been ate. It has been consumed. I was like, oh my gosh, really?
How long did you end up going? Did you do the 5 hours?
Yes.
Well done. Well done.
It was 5 hours, almost exactly 5 hours. The night previous was another CTN record of 5 hours and 41 minutes. And I was just like, why am I doing this? You know what it is? I actually love to talk about this stuff. I'm excited. It wakes me up in the middle of the night. I don't know, man.
You're a talker.
I guess. Yeah. According to some of the Jasmine people out there, some of the flutters, I'm a BS, was it BS scam shiller? Anyway.
Oh, that's not bad. I mean, it's a decent title. It's a title anyway.
Yeah.
They say you're full of hot air, so you got a lot of hot air to let out.
It's all right.
There you go.
I mean, I know the Pokemon thing is kind of a stretch, but anyway. All right, so let's welcome Bobby Jonas. Thank you so much for being recorded, coming to the live. Bobby Jonas, who loves XDC, by the way. He's here to say the phrase I'm most famous for. Oh, I know what's going to be. You know what's coming. Oh, here comes drum roll. Insert drum roll. XDC will kill Ethereum.
Whoa.
XDC is the real Ethereum killer. I have to agree with that. Some people say, you know what, we shouldn't be mentioning that. It's overused. Man, go with it. Are you kidding me? How about you, Crypto Smith? Don't you hate the whole thing of freedom of thought? You can't have freedom of thought as a content creator.
Look at it. If you knew me in real life, you would understand. Yeah, I don't hold back. I don't care about your feelings, right? I'm going to say what I want to say because I live in a world where I can do that, right? I'm not saying anything mean, right? If I say something you don't like, you know, let's have a conversation about it. Otherwise, you know, go home. Pound sand.
Let's go home.
Yeah.
Like Cartman's, "Giga, I'm going home."
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay. Glad you're in the comments. Just picked up a bit more XTCs. I want to say this, all right? I'm not just trying to toot your own horn here. You have one of the coolest looking avatars in YouTube. Anyway.
That is the best $50 I've ever spent on Fiverr.
Fiverr gave you that. Wow.
Fiverr, nice. Yeah, Fiverr, this content provider gave me that first try. Wow. I just kind of gave them an idea of what this is what I want. I think it was a she actually, like, hey, you know, it'd be cool to look like this, and just gave him a couple pictures, and then, bam, just knocked it out of the park. I was like, you know what, I like that. We're going with that one.
Like Emerald, bam. All right. Yeah. Big Dave, welcome. Good to have you here. He said, what's up, gentlemen? Coochie Boy's in the house. Sup, CTN fam. Coochie Boy, glad to have you here. Tim Shea, of course, who says, hey, saying hello to Coochie Boy. Giving you love to you, Sean.
Well, thank you, Tim Shea, mayor of crypto. Always appreciate the support, brother. Always.
Yes. And I want to point this out. So, Tim, you may think, you know, Max didn't recognize this yesterday. It didn't pop up on the screen. But when I went back to review the show, just briefly, I'm not going to watch another 5 hours of the show. I saw towards the beginning of the show, your buddy who became a member the other day, he gifted you a membership. And I thought it was absolutely cool as all hell. So thank you to you guys both. Thank you, Tim, for being a long-time supporter. Absolutely. Mayor of Crypto Commissioner. No, why do we state that, you guys? So for some of you newcomers, when it comes to Tim Shea, he is like, you know, he's not the Klaus Schwab unelected official, but he definitely gets himself out there. He does a very good job of going to other shows, Crypto Smith, Waddy. He's all over the place, right? DGen stuff, you name it, right?
He supports everybody, really. I mean,
yes,
he's just a solid, you know, salt of the earth kind of guy, and understands, you know, that the support for people who are trying to, you know, create a channel or any type of social media, you know, it needs people like that, you know, who are in there just doing God's work, basically. I don't know how he does it. I mean, he must have 16 computers set up in his house, and he's just bouncing back and forth from stream to stream.
The Dr. Claw of crypto. No, I'm kidding. You know, because you have the whole panel. Anyway. All right. So let's go further down. We're going to welcome Mr. Brian Dowie is back in the house.
What's up, Brian?
Good to see you, Brian. Eddie T, who doesn't need an avatar. Everybody else needs an avatar. Eddie T, at this point, does not need an avatar. Thank you for being here, Eddie T. You're
Eddie
always
T
loyal and
is so
faithful.
cool that an avatar isn't going to do anything for him.
No.
Right? He's already made it.
He is the avatar.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. All right, let's go further down. Salamander, the XDC commander, is in the house, sticking out his tongue and so on. Check out the brief video we put out today, Salamander. I don't know, it's like 3 minutes or something like that. Pretty cool stuff. I don't know. Somebody pointed out, I don't know if they're being sarcastic or what, saying that I was stealing content. I'm like, oh my God, really? If that's the case, Richard Common Sense Crypto has stole everything off of crypto Twitter. Anyway.
Everybody steals content, right? They write, articles in the magazines and newspapers that they steal content. That's what you do. You take the information that's out there and you redistribute it to other people who aren't reading right where it's coming from.
Exactly. Crazy stuff. All right. So I'm glad to see you guys are welcoming each other. We will kick it into our particular outline that we have for you today. I think it should be a really good show. I think there's some other creators going on right now. I know Classy Crypto's got a live stream going on for Gala Games. I dropped in there for just a brief moment. That actually looked pretty good. Remind me of was it League of Legends, but was it Walking Dead style? I'm not a big zombie fan anyway, but yeah. All right, so let's have Boomer effing Sooner is in the house. And just like that, man, we just blasted up to 42.
What's up, Boomer?
Good to have you, Boomer.
Mr. effing Sooner.
Yeah, Sooner.
Like
yes.
Sooner.
Yeah. Always looking good in that old Navy pick, man. Looking pretty sharp.
Yeah. Thanks for the service.
Yes, absolutely. To everybody. We had a guy the other night came here, I believe. I don't know, he kind of like the old what was it? What's his name? Colonel Kilgore or whatever from, nothing like the smell of napalm in the morning, you know what I mean?
Oh,
from
yeah,
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
That type of hat looked really cool. Anyway, I was thinking him for his service too. All right, so let's go further down into the comments. We got a few more people just kind of, filing in. So obviously Salamander, all you guys, thank you so much. Hey, Max and Sean, says Coochie Boy. No way, Tim Shay. Not tonight, man.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, Max had to do that one by himself.
No, not tonight. I'm good on, because here's the thing, right? What I love to do is I also like to be able to put recorded content out, and I don't have enough time to do that. And I was like, wow, this is, I guess, good problems. I don't know. But no, I'm not going to do that tonight. Just giving you guys a heads up. 2-hour mark comes, we're done. So roughly around maybe, I don't know, hour and a half, we're going to try to kind of wind things down, read comments and so on. But it's like, you guys talk about the flip of the switch. The switch goes off at the 2-hour mark. So bring it as far as, whatever you need, and we'll try to get to it. I want to welcome Ahmed. And I know some of you guys, well, then don't read all the darn comments and welcome everybody. We're almost done. We're almost done. I want to welcome also Lazy Jedi in the house. And I want to also state that when it comes to Lazy Jedi, Lazy Shaman, apparently, Steve the Canadian, check out their particular show. It is the Lazy Shaman Show featuring, obviously, Lazy Jedi and Steve the Canadian. You'll be glad you did. All right. Let's go further down. We got GS who is in the house. Sobo, thank you so much. I sent you another DM on ctnnetwork.net. Appreciate you being here.
Sobo?
Yes, Sobo. I just want to state, I hope you're having a great evening, and it's really great to have her here. All right, let's go further down, and we got the cat has entered. Cool Cat Crypto came through the doggy door, cat door, whatever you want to call it. Welcome, Cool Cat. Black was also in the house. Welcome back. Can't remember if it was you or somebody else who packed the lunch the other night. So
Blackwood.
Cool stuff.
Good to see you.
Good evening to you. All right, we're almost towards some stuff. You got some hot pockets. Interesting. All right. No, we're not going to talk about that. I don't even want to see that. Magic Power. Typical greeting of hello, guten Tag, Liechtenstein Exchange, and Jesby in the house. Yes, welcome back. We do rock. We do appreciate this community. You guys do definitely rock. All right, Crypto Holmes is back. All right, let's see where we're at. Let's see if you guys got any solid questions. Oh, we got some super chats from. You know what? It's from OV Crypto, right? OV Crypto. Is it OV or you want OV? Let us know.
He says OV.
OV. So OV, let me tell you this, right? Last night you came to the show because you said it was your first live. He stayed the whole course from beginning to end. My God, that's awesome. You rock, man.
It's a trooper.
Yes.
A true trooper right there.
So thank you for the $2 super chat. Let's get this juicy couch of Vaseline news. Oh my God, that's a new thing.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Is that now? Is that a new thing on your show?
Well, here's the thing. For DPG Maximus, which is over 20 something years, right?
Yeah.
You were watching Chappelle show back in the day?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Everything, you know, the yo couch. Never mind. Anyway, so there's this whole thing about Larry's casting couch in the back. Right. Is it really cloth or is it vinyl? And with everything going live with ISO 222, do we just say, you know, your couch, Larry, buy another one, and you know, and then pour a bunch of Vaseline in between? Never mind. Bad visual. Degen talk, right? Yeah. Bad stuff. All right, so thank you to OV Crypto with $2 super chat. Let's get the juicy Vaseline news going on. And on top of that, Salman, the XDC commander, thank you very much. XDC, he's really raw XDC.
Yeah, XDC. Bought some more today, man.
Buy now, not financial advice. You got to do what you got to do, but yeah, obviously. You got some more today too.
I bought some more today.
That's awesome. All right. I don't know. I mean, the days of under 3 cents, they might be over. We might have new support. I had to check some of the guys that do TA in regards to that. All right. I think for the most part, we are going to go down. There's the guy I was talking to you about, Uncle Thursday. Welcome. I was just your ears.
Oh yeah, the hat. Uncle I like it.
Yeah, 5 hours is a bladder killer. It was. You know, when that thing ended, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, it was bad. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't play when it comes to that, man. If I got to go, I'm getting up and going.
Yeah. And all right. So Crypto Home 777 says, "Hey Max, thank you for the Rosie Rios video earlier today. Very eye-opening." And that is in regards to XDC. So it's a quick 3-minute video. You're glad you got into it or took a look at it. Coolcast says, "Oh my God, XSP is running wild too." That's great, man. I think XDC may have flipped the switch. You know what? Isn't that something? The trade sector. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. You said OV is pronounced OV. Okay, had a great time yesterday. I'm back, CTN. And all right, let's see. We're going to welcome Dell, Selmo Fudd especially. BTC will get to 30K by the end of the year. Not tonight, not tomorrow. Very good point. I want to welcome River. And, of course, anybody else who I might have missed. Dell, AZ Marine Sniper, first time here getting into Jasmine. Well, welcome, man. I'm also here in Arizona. Shout out to you. The one and only Rain is back. God, are you seeing who stayed, who left? God, I'm a good student. Well, you're a good student always, man. And Tim Shea says, Max went to the dark side with the Vaseline yesterday. Yeah, a little bit of the taste of the degen stuff, right? Olamide is back. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Dozed off twice and you're still on.
You put him to sleep twice.
Yeah, I don't mean to put people to sleep. I don't want to do that. That's not good. All right, so we're going to bookmark this right here. We're going to start into our outline that we have for you tonight. It is basically just ISO 222, right? So let's go ahead and jump into some of these particular things that are mentioned. And we'll start things off, believe it or not, with the one, the only Crypto Lulu. Now, I went to his YouTube earlier. I was trying to see if he had anything, juicy for us today, because I was like, you know what? He would probably have it if it was something super juicy. Verson would have something. I think they're brewing up something, guys. I think they're going to put a great show together. If you're not following them, you need to, right? Especially if you're in XRP and some of these other ones. But look what Lulu mentions here, and it is part of a particular outline here tonight. So smash that like. If you haven't done so already, let's see if we can get this out to a broader base of people who not necessarily just want to focus on the degen stuff, but want that generational wealth and want to learn more about what the heck this ISO 222 thing is all about, XRP, XLM, Quant, XDC, all that stuff, right? So he says, I can't help but to think of the words lender of last resort recently. Now, before we get into this particular outline, I just want to state this real quick. I'm not necessarily rooting for lender of last resort. And some people have complained about this because they're like, oh, great. This is only going to be utilized if it's a last resort. We're never going to see any utility being used. can't look at it from just that narrow vision, right? You got to keep in mind, like for instance, XRP, especially the XRP ledger, right? There's so much more to it than just, as Sean was mentioned, payments. Now, before I kick it back to, like, for instance, Sean and our commentary and so on, I want to show you guys this, and it's going to start things off this way. So let's see, let's double check you can see that, and you can. And look what it mentions. This comes from Digital Assets Daily. He mentions, if the banks collapse, ISO 222 is live. Ripple provides lends, in this case, liquidity to global liquidity crisis, and remaining XRP is entirely accessed. Where would XRP be priced with none available? And then, of course, the follow-up is this guy right here. And I'll play this just real quick. Listen to this.
In my mind's eye, there's a possibility where, we end up more of a lending kind of, more of a lender of last resort capacity, maybe.
Lender of last resort. I mean, Sean, what the heck are these guys talking about? I know what they're talking about, but I want to hear what you think.
So, yeah, and it's intriguing to hear them say that, all right? It's kind of exciting, but, who knows? I mean, there's so much uncertainty out there right now. Lender of last resort, meaning, hey, you know what? I know you guys have a serious liquidity problem because they've taken in so much money in the banking system and loaned it out at 10 times that, and a lot of that money has gone. A lot of that money's been lost. And so they have a liquidity issue. Now they can use Ripple's on-demand liquidity using XRP to solve liquidity problems, right? And XRP obviously at some point would have to be worth a lot more than 38 cents wherever it is right now. But that's what they're talking about, right? That would be the best way to save the financial system. The problem, we'll talk about this later, but obviously there's a few problems with that certain governments and the largest of financial institutions are going to have with that.
Yeah, it is such a big topic, and there's so much to cover in regards to all that. If you're just joining us here tonight, again, smash that like. And if you're wondering what in the world is this ISO 222 thing, it's been something that not just us as a community, but many other communities have been talking about for probably over a year, right? Let's be honest about it. But anyway, in regards to our outline for tonight, yes, ISO 222. Today is the day that it got implemented. It became a mandate and so on for a while. But today is all roads lead to March 20th. So why are we talking about and so on? Well, that's why we're here. We're going to talk about right now. So I want to show you guys some of this, and there's a lot of things that Digital Asset Daily put in. So I'm going to give him a shout out. 45,000 followers, right? Really, really killing it. But look at this. I'm going to bring this up for just a brief moment. I'm going to switch it to this particular tab. This comes straight from News BTC. So when we get further into it, it says U.S. Fed to launch FedNow in July, countering Ripple. Now, of course, some people say, well, Max, we're going with this. This is Cypherium all the way, right? Well, Crypto Smith could probably inject in that regard, but just hear me out for just a second. So in regards to FedNow launching in July, if you didn't know, FedNow is a service that allows banks to transfer funds speedily. If that's a word, is that a real word? Speedily, Sean?
Yeah, sounds
speedily?
Legit.
Yeah,
okay. I mean, it's on the internet. It has to be true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly right. Yeah.
Right.
Speedily across the broader financial system in the country, described as a quote modern instant payment service. The platform was announced in 2019, but the Fed plans to activate the service in the next few months. So I also wanted to mention, and I put out that particular video earlier today. It was super quick, and it was basically Jerome Powell being interviewed. He does confirm instant payments, right? But he says no to CBDCs. So, some people are thinking, well, that's good because, we don't like necessarily CBDCs. This whole concept of, FedNow, especially with instant payments, sounds great. But look what it says right here in the, it's kind of grayed out, but look at this. We couldn't be more excited about the forthcoming FedNow launch, which will enable every participating financial institution, the smallest to the largest, from all corners of the country, to offer a modern instant payment solution. With the launch drawing near, we urge financial institutions and their industry partners to move full steam ahead with preparations to join the FedNow service. Now, before we get down to this particular thing where it says a blow to Ripple, which some people feel as though it is because of Cypherium, FedNow might be the first one, and so on. With that said, is it something in which Ripple's on-demand liquidity and so on, we have to root for the banks? Not necessarily I'm rooting for it, but let's face it, to collapse in order for our utility of XRP through on-demand liquidity and so on to get utilized, just like it says, is this a blow to Ripple, Sean?
Well, no, it's not a blow to Ripple. Look, I don't think now there's different camps out there, ideas to what's going on with FedNow. I don't think I've ever really thought that FedNow was going to use XRP as their, say, blockchain provider. And I've also seen spots where the FedNow stated that they weren't even going to use blockchain to actually move money. So there's a lot of confusion going on, which obviously we will see in July when it goes live and they actually start utilizing that service for faster or instant payments. To me, it's not a negative to Ripple or XRP because I don't think a lot of people were actually expecting XRP to be the vehicle that's going to be used for these instant payments. So, I know there's some thought out there about Cypherium because they're actually listed on the FedNow site. But once again, nobody's heard of Cypherium. They're not new on the scene, really, but it seems I don't know, there's something fishy to me about it. And it may be totally legit, maybe just the way I'm looking at it. But with the Fed saying they're not going to use blockchain to move the money, that was a little suspicious. And then for them to say Cypherium also listing them on their site was confusing because that came out just after they said we're not going to use blockchain. But hey, here's Cypherium. We're going to as a service provider for this instant payment. So it is confusing. I don't really know, what is actually going to happen. But I do feel XRP is not going to be that utility for FedNow.
All right. Well, fair enough on that. And for the record, for some of the people who just came in, maybe you are a holder of XRP and you're saying, well, this guy is just a XRP maxi. I don't know who the heck Crypto Smith is and so on. He's just saying that he clearly doesn't hold Cypherium. Yeah, he does. And I hold it as well. So we do, as much as we want to be raw on a lot of these things, we do try to look things from things that from another angle. Like what kind of competition is out there and so on. So we always have to be objective of whatever is out there, right? I mean,
yeah, and I think most people who use their heads and can step back from being a maxi, and I'm not a maxi of anything other than utility, right? Any project out there in crypto that has real world utility, I'm on board with. So whether it's Cypherium, and I hope things go well for them because I hold some, just like we said, XRP, there is going to be a use case for a lot of these projects. A lot of these companies are going to exist in this ecosystem. And we've got to get away from the maxis who are saying, nope, my project is going to do everything and your project's going to be irrelevant, right? That is not going to happen. Not in our lifetime, not in my lifetime anyway. So it's okay if Cypherium is actually used by the FedNow system. It's okay if XRP and RippleNet are used for on-demand liquidity for 20 or 30 different central banks out there and cross-border payments, or XLM, or any of the number. Obviously XDC is going to be out there as well, in a different capacity, but all of these are going to come together at some point and be used for different things. So just be cognizant of that.
Yeah, very, very true. We're going to kick it back in the comments just for a brief bit, try to keep up with the flow and so on. Sean, we broke our record from before, so I just want to give you that great news. 74 wonderful, beautiful people. Speaking of which, if you don't know who Sean is, if you're new, check him out over at Sean the Crypto Smith, right? He is Sean the Crypto Smith. I'm going to give him a quick plug real quick, and we're going to take a brief moment to pause for station identification. And here is our particular site. It's still somewhat new, but the key thing is you can come over here. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You sign up with email, Gmail, Facebook, you name it. And you can see people like Sean the Crypto Smith, like his particular card right here. Come on over here. And just like other people we have that we, our utility layer for CTN, we actually love to, feature the content from other content creators. Obviously, Maria Anderson. Here is Sean the Crypto Smith. There's even Wadi. So you just simply click on his particular channel, and it takes you straight to his YouTube. Here it is, and it's the space Crypto Smith, all one word. He is the co-host here for Utility Talk Now. He covers obviously XRP, XLM, quite a few other ones. Here's some of, for instance, XRP and XLM will be the future payments. Obviously covers Cypherion, Jasmine as of recently, Casper even. So give him a sub. He does a really good job with his outline, takes some deep dives and so on. He's up to 1.75K. Let's see this actually tick up to 1.77K by the end of the show. We'll check back. Really appreciate everybody here so far tonight. Smash that like if you haven't done so already. Let's kick it into the comments just for a brief bit, and we'll get back to our particular outline. So everybody, of course, welcome Olamide. And if anything, you guys have some questions, I believe. But let's see here. You guys talk about Coach JV as well. Here's a good question. It's towards Tim Shea. Tim Shea, you getting Rio with Coinbase Wallet or Uniswap? So, the thing is, I believe with Rio, a lot of people do go the whole Uniswap route. But yeah, I'm glad that, Rio has interest you. We covered it at roughly 8 cents. If you're wondering, you could take, if you want to see a deep dive, I have a deep dive in regards to Rio. I went from 8 cents to, over 30 cents as we speak. Their ties to Wall Street, the tokenization of real estate. It's been an absolute great small cap gem that we have brought to our community. Shout out to Papa X Mex if he's watching. He's the one that eventually introduced it. And just off of that one video already, I just want to welcome anybody from Rio. I saw somebody last night from the Rio community. We got something started here already. We're at 20 subs for that Rio video alone. So yeah, guys,
nice. Excellent.
We have a community with that now. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go further down. Kevin Broughton, if I pronounce that right, or Broughton, excuse me. The XDC got my toes tingling. Yes.
Good way to put it.
Yeah. Cool Cat says, take a shot every time Hulk says the F word. You'll be hammered in like 3. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Rayan says, I love XDC, but I don't know where to buy. So in regards to XDC, even if you're not a fan of centralized exchanges, I got my XDC off of KuCoin. There's many other exchanges where you can get it, and I'll just show you just real quick. And basically speaking, you can go, of course, to CMC, and just like anything, you can go in to the particular asset, and you just scroll down. Actually, let me just share this real quick. You scroll down to where it says markets, and then like I did right here, you click on markets. This is XDC, by the way. Ooh, XDC pumping. Look at that, guys.
It is. It's doing well.
Look at that. Ooh, 19%. The trade sector in the house, right? A lot of times we think like it's all going to be the payment ones. And when, I was saying like, watch out for XDC. I feel as though that could also be in the mix. I consistently feel as though watch out for that, sideways action people complain about for so long. So guys, it's just a matter of time. That strengthens the asset. I'm not complaining about it. And I was just like, watch out. Don't sleep on it. Boom. It has really, really done well this last week. And now apparently starting off this new week. But here's the markets. KuCoin, Bitfinex. There's Huobi, Gate.io. I'm not really a big fan of Gate.io. Obviously, there's BitShrew. There's some other ones, right? I don't believe it's on a single decentralized exchange. Yeah, there isn't any for that. But guys, look at this. 98% up, 99% up. Why is that? We'll get into some of why that is in a bit. Of course, I explained in our particular video for today why that is. But let's jump back to our particular outline. After I first welcome a few more people. Let's just say hello. See if there's anything in regards to a comment. I'm going to welcome Rudy Poo. Reminder for everyone, 100K XTC, you have a 1 cent move equals 1,000. What are your thoughts about that? Are you really good with the math and so on?
Well, he's correct. Yeah, that's a good amount of money to have. If you can afford to have 100K in there, good on you for that. You're doing okay. Yeah. I don't have 100K in there. I'll just let you know right now.
Yeah, I'm not up to the 100K mark either. That's a great goal though.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. And how about this? I mean, if we're really gonna have competition, does anyone even come close to Salamander? Sal, are you willing to tell us? Are you actually approaching 2 million on your XDC? I mean, it was 15, 1.5 million before. You want to give us an update? You don't want to share that? It's up to you, but it's still very, very impressive.
It's a very, very large bag of XDC. Yeah, I think you're going to be doing pretty well here.
And that's just off XDC. That doesn't even count all the other assets.
Yeah.
Oh. XDC is going up, guys. Yep.
Yes, it is.
All right. So we're gonna see who else has any questions or comments. Here's a comment from AZ Marine Sniper. Again, thank you for your service. He says dumped alluvium for Jasmine. I don't know about alluvium. Do you know about that particular project?
Yeah, it's a metaverse type project. I looked into it before. It looks really cool, but I think there's still with certain metaverse projects that don't really have much to do with e-commerce. I think they're going to struggle for another couple of years. We have some more time to put in on these things.
Okay, fair enough.
To really get the masses in, it's going to take a while. We have to get the rest of the market okay before before everybody starts to get out and branch into these games, alluvium type games. But yeah, it's a super cool project. It looks like to me, but yeah, I don't have time for it.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I don't have time for it right now.
Dumped alluvium for Jasmine. Hope I made the right decision. My thing is I don't like switching for one asset to the other, but I understand why people have to do it and so on. But thank you for that comment, AZ Marine Sniper. For everybody flooding Jasmine, I honestly think there's consistently something there with Jasmine. I understand some of the complaints, like we don't get any particular like video interviews and things like that. By the way, I just saw we ticked up to 80. Thank you so much, everybody. Smash that like if you haven't done so already. Appreciate you guys. But you know what? I mean, I'm honestly like, I'm gonna have to call my friend probably within the next few days. I need to catch up with him anyway. He goes to Japan quite often because of his job, and I'm gonna just be like, look, man. I don't know how far away this particular town is where the Jasmine headquarters is and so on, but I'm willing to pay you to take pictures, maybe do some interviews with the staff, whatever the case be, get some videos, because that in itself would be, some people say, well, why would you want to do that, Max? That'd be a win-win. And when we talk about adoption, we need more people to know about Jasmine and so on. And knowing that, he works for a company formerly known as Funimation, helped promote Shin Godzilla. So in my opinion, you got somebody like that who went to a red carpet premiere for like Shin Godzilla, and he wants to interview you Jasmine people. To me, that is, we would say that's the plug, or the connect is, the other game.
You're saying go and interview these heads of Jasmine, right?
Yeah, but you know why? Because there's nothing hardly at all with that, and that is a complaint.
I've looked into this as well, and I've seen similar complaints about other projects about how these guys aren't out in front a lot, and perhaps they're not ready to get out there and really start marketing or advertising. If they're not ready to really flip that switch, they're going to hold back a little bit. But there's also a cultural difference where some of these cultures, they're not as prolific in front of the camera as some others are, right? And they don't enjoy that kind of thing. So
yeah, that's a good point.
I think there's a little bit of both of that they're not doing. I understand people are fighting and they're saying, oh, this isn't real. They're really not part of the group because you don't see them on video anywhere doing AMAs like other people do. But then again, you don't see Brad Garlinghouse on AMAs, on somebody's YouTube channel really either. He does big boy interviews, but that's again a cultural, I believe, issue in the U.S. where people are open and available to that.
Yeah, very good point. I mean, you got to keep in mind, we're talking about a culture that dates back many, not just decades, I mean, hundreds of years with an honor system. So, all right, let's go further down. Sobo has a question. She says, does FedNow have anything to work with quants? What do you think of that? Because I know you know about FedNow and Cypherium. I mean, I'm not trying to create a thing like I have the answer. I'm not gonna try to pull a cool cat.
No.
Crypto
If
mode.
you
Nothing
got
against
the
cool
answer,
cat,
because I
but, you know what I
don't
mean?
have the answer to this one. I mean, I would assume they do, because they're going to need some interoperability between certain financial systems. So my assumption would be yes.
So my answer to this, guys, and this is nothing official. All right, this is just my own particular take. This is a great question. So my thing is, the answer is yes from an interoperability point of view. Now, some people will say, well, no, Max. I mean, it doesn't even really matter if it was interoperable or not, because that is its own system with FedNow. And if anything, is Cypherium. But hear me out on this. So, for instance, with Gilbert Verdian, from his previous experience, what have we researched the last few months? We have researched and found out that you did definitely have them working as far as putting together like a future, I guess you could say, framework for a potential future CBDC. You have, for instance, what is it with the New York Federal Reserve? So we did draw that connection. We had an outline for you. We literally list that, and then on top of that, the other thing about how, what was it, Gilbert went to was MIT, got with some of those particular guys and so on, and the work that was made there. So I would I would have people go back and remember, you know what, there was the deep dive that we took, and we did establish that specific connection. Now, as far as them coming out officially and saying, yes, quant, I don't think that's the case. But let's face it, quant works in the background for quite a few things. But I don't know if that's, just a perfect issue of NDAs. Some people say, well, what do you mean NDAs? I mean, this is the federal government. I understand all those particular debates. So I don't think on paper, it's just in writing, but I do think there is that particular quant connection because they've already done work with, again, the New York Federal Reserve and so on. So it is what it is. It's a great question, though. Rudy Poo, Luke 18:8, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth. Well, thanks for bringing that out. Another fellow believer. Great scripture right there. Okay, speedily. I'll have to remember that now.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I mean, just so many books in the Bible anyway. I mean, my goodness. All right, Crypto McDizzle for shizzle, Manizzle for show. He says 68,000 XDC. You got me beat. Better than none, I suppose. Yeah, of course, better than none. Somebody said, the minimum should be 20,000 XDC. In my opinion, I think the minimum should be like just whatever the amount is that you're willing to hold towards that goal, whether it's short term, medium range, super long term. I mean, some people might be holding this for 10 years or more. I don't know.
Yeah, and the perfect amount is whatever you can afford to put into it, right? I don't think there is a perfect amount. What's perfect for me is not going to be perfect for somebody else.
All right, so let's jump back into our news outline. We did take a good moment to get into the comments and so on. We do have quite a bit in regards to this, so I'm going to jump back to what we have. Give me just a moment in that regard. And yeah, it's about this whole thing about blow to Ripple, right? So this is where we left off earlier before we kicked it back in the comments. So welcome, people. So it says, a blow to Ripple. The announcement of FedNow is amid the proliferation of alternative blockchain-based solutions, especially Ripple. And again, of course, people say, Cypherm all the way, let's go. Well, hear me out. Ripple Inc., the blockchain company closely associated with XRP, a cryptocurrency, as we know, native to the XRP ledger, aims to offer cheap, instant cross-border payment solutions for banks. We know this stuff for the most part. If you're new, it's okay. But look what it says. At the core of the service, through the liquidity hub, which of course we could take more of a deeper dive into that, and we have, Ripple allows banks, some of whom are part of RippleNet, to use XRP and move funds. Now, when we go further into this, it says, by leveraging a cryptocurrency, Ripple, if you didn't know, enables partnering banks to move funds globally more efficiently. As they do so, transactions are settled instantaneously. That's why we are putting so much focus on, well, what about this whole thing with FedNow, quote, instant payments? Over the years, partners leveraging the liquidity hub have been able to utilize the platform for their varied needs. But however, like it mentions, as it appears, the Fed is now offering an alternative to banks in the United States to move funds across the financial system using their solution. And of course, people are going to still say, Cypherium, let's go. Well, hear me out. Ripple has an ongoing case against the United States Securities Exchange Commission, as we know, as the regulator claims that XRP, the token key in Ripple's cross-border payment solution, is an unregistered security. So with that said, Sean, earlier today, I saw that you, or just before the show, you actually posted something in regards to this whole thing with the Ripple case.
Yeah, so there's obviously we're waiting on the judge to come up with some sort of solution, right? An end to this case, we hope. But chances are good there won't really be a finality to it. You know, I think there's going to be a win and a loss, and maybe it's going to get some of it's going to get passed on to a jury. And then obviously, if the SEC loses, they're just going to appeal. If Ripple loses, they're going to appeal as well. So we could very well be into this for years to come. Hopefully that's not the case, but it certainly is possible. So Ripple basically filed, let me get into my bookmarks here. Now I've lost it. Hang on one second. So Jeremy Hogan, who is a content creator, you know, in his own right, he's a lawyer, and he's been following the Ripple case. He kind of breaks it down. So there was a judgment in the Voyager case where the judge basically kind of came down on the SEC and said, let me read it here. So this is highlighting Jeremy Hogan's, what he said is Ripple finally filed the Voyager bankruptcy judge's decision. The judge uses abnormally strong language, stating that the U.S. regulators themselves cannot even agree on what criteria to use in deciding. Hang on, let me...
No worries. I think I might retweet. I could pull it up for you as well. Oh, there we go. So this is what you got? What are you talking about? Okay.
Yep.
Here we go, guys. This is what he's talking about. I'm going to add to the stream.
Okay, so I'll read it again. So the judge uses abnormally strong language, stating that the U.S. regulators themselves cannot even agree on what criteria to use in deciding whether crypto is a security, and this has to do with fair notice. And what fair notice is out there is essentially a defendant saying, hey, they never told us what we were, you know, we went in and talked to them just like Ripple did. Ripple went in many times to the SEC and spoke to them about their project, what they're doing, what they're hoping to do, and it was no issue whatsoever. Nobody ever one time said, hey, I think you guys are security. You guys need to stop doing what you're doing. Not once. And so they want to use what they call fair notice. They weren't given fair notice to stop doing what they were doing, or being told that what they were doing was illegal, according to the SEC. So this has to go with that fair notice. So this is what the judge said. Second, just as defendants have highlighted in connection with their fair notice defense, Judge Wiles found that cryptocurrency market participants operate in a regulatory environment that at best can be described as highly uncertain, in which regulators themselves cannot seem to agree as to whether cryptocurrencies are commodities that may be subject to regulation by the CFTC, or whether they're securities subject to securities laws, or even on criteria that should be applied in making this decision. Uncertainty has persisted despite the fact cryptocurrency exchanges have been around for a number of years. So this is what the judge stated. And so this is now what they can consider, and I don't know if this is a particular legal precedent, but they can use this information and say to the judge who's in the Ripple case, say, look, here is what another judge just determined in this other similar case, right? It's a cryptocurrency case, and the judge is saying there is no clarity out there in the market. How could an average user understand that what they're purchasing is a security or a commodity or what? Because even regulators can't decide, right? We have the CFTC and the SEC both arguing on whether Ethereum is a security or not, or Bitcoin or not, or all other, you know, assets. So this is just another hat in the feather of Ripple for this case. So hopefully this is going to help determine, at the very least, what we're looking for is for XRP to be considered not a security in the secondary markets and going forward, right? That's really what we need. Everything else on top of that doesn't really matter to us. If you're just holding XRP, you know, then we're fine, right? Now, Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse, obviously, they're still going to have a fight on their hands, you know, probably a little while, and a huge fine possibly in the future as well. So That's what this is good news, for us.
I agree. It is good news for us, and for all those people who are saying, like I forget XRP, this whole thing with the SEC. You got to keep in mind, what about the rest of the world? It's just like people are like always focusing on this whole thing. It's just all this stuff from a U.S. based point of view. I don't mean no disrespect, but I just think it's just like you're having tunnel vision. All right, it's like look at all the things that went live. Right. We talk about, for instance, Target 2. Do you think Target 2 really cares about the SEC case? Not really.
No, and you're right. This is the U.S. only, right? And the rest of the world does not care what the SEC says. And Brad Garlinghouse has made it very clear: if they lose the case and XRP is determined to be a security, they just move their headquarters out of the U.S. 95% of their business, Ripple's business, is outside of the U.S. So this really doesn't hurt their business. Right. Obviously, they would like to include the U.S. into it, but the U.S. is pushing back right now. And maybe what's funny is that I thought a couple of months ago, I was thinking, what, maybe this case doesn't end until July, right? Until after FedNow goes live, and then they say, oh, okay, you know what, we're going to release XRP now and Ripple, and let them do the thing after it's too late for them to get themselves in that door.
I never heard anybody else other than you mentioned July, but with what you just mentioned, that does make sense. So
a lot of the experts think it's going to happen. We should have some settlement or some sort of news from the judge in the next few weeks. So, who knows? It's going to be a big day when that happens.
Are you kidding?
It might be a horrible day. We don't really know what to expect right now. But
yeah,
the judge has been fair up to this point and has been very suspect of the SEC as well.
Fair enough. Let's get into just a brief few comments. Tim Shea says, yes, Rand, XLM is cheap and fast to move. Trade USDT to purchase whatever, total less than $1. Sound Matter says, hit that like button. Thank you very much. I want to welcome Mr. Steve the Canadian. Let me remove that for you real quick, Sean. But yes, I'd like to welcome Steve the Canadian. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Yeah, you guys check out the Lazy Shaman Show featuring Steve the Canadian, as well as Lazy Jedi and so on, doing it big. Let's see here. Rand says, just to F with you guys, just enjoy it. 2025 is here with 8K per quant. No doubt. I have it higher than that, but I ain't complaining.
Yeah, I'd take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Lazy Jedi, there he is. Welcome back. I think I welcomed you before. Equilibrium is back. He says, yes, FedNow does not use blockchain. It uses DLT, distributed ledger technology, two different things, and Cypherium is a DLT. And it's also, with this, proof of work. And I think that's another thing that makes Cypherium stand out. I mean, for crying out loud, I guess you can mine it on top of that. So I don't know. I think more and more people are finding out about Cypherium. I just don't want to go, and I don't mean to disrespect. I think this guy is very passionate. Obviously, you know where I'm going with this. Yep. Very passionate about what he holds and why he holds it and why he became a Cypherium maxi. And if he's listening, shout out to Web36. But I just don't want to go that route of eggs all in one basket.
Well, my only issue with Web36, and he's got a lot of great information about Cypherium, obviously very passionate about it. I can appreciate that. It's that when they start to go down the road that Cypherium is going to be the world's reserve currency, now I have a problem with it. Because that doesn't make any sense at all.
Right. Gonna welcome Space Chick. Does a really good job covering Volt and things like that.
Hey, Space Chick, how you doing?
Yeah, Space Chick. I'll tell you what, if you're still here, I want to mention this. You need to check out. I'll give us just a brief pause for station identification. If you sign up a free account, doesn't cost you anything. We will feature you over here at CTN Network with all these other people that you're already familiar with. Please, you talk about Volt Guy, Pablo, right, and so on. Obviously, Crypto Smith, and that way, when a person goes over here, right, let's say for instance it is Crypto Smith. I'll give him another plug, right? When they click on your channel, what will happen is it will say, for instance, Space Chick, right? How cool is that? So thank you for being here. Space Chick, let's pull up a particular channel real quick. Space Chick Crypto. So that's what we do here, right? We're all about community here at CTN. There's Space Chick. She's a really great content creator. Very passionate, obviously, about Volt and some other particular projects. But yeah, go ahead and give her a follow. You're doing pretty well, Space Chick. You're up to close to 2,500. We'll have to give you a personal, hey, awesome job on 3K when you hit it. But yeah, check out some of the ones she covers recently. Next Gen Network, even a little bit of Crow, obviously Volt and so on. She does live shows. I believe I've seen shout out to Crypto Latina and all them. But yeah, she's very passionate about Volt and some other particular projects. Obviously, she's in the MMAI. Give her a follow, Space Chick _crypto. And on behalf of myself and Larry, keep doing what you're doing. Keep up the good work, Space Chick. Glad to have you here tonight. All right, going to jump back into our particular outline. And I want to thank everybody again for being here tonight. Really, really appreciate you. So we did this whole thing in regards to some of the reports from News BTC. We're going to jump back actually to this particular outline because there's a lot in that regard. So, you heard Crypto Lulu. He says, I can't help but to think the words lender of last resort recently, right? There's a lot more to it than just that. So let's pull that up. And here it is. So, you heard this particular gentleman mention, Ripple, Miguel Viez, lender of last resort. That's where we're going with this. We show you this whole thing about, the last resort landscape, even the newsbtc.com about countering Ripple. I actually meant to show you this earlier. Hold on a second. So let me pull this one up instead. And here it is. And if you're wondering about this, right, this was actually all the way back from May 3rd, 2021. And this is what these guys are referring to. The last resort and changing the landscape. We're in a changing landscape. So it says, as a lender of last resort, the Federal Reserve plays a vital role in maintaining a sound and stable financial system. But the frequency and scale, think about what they're mentioning here, scale of Fed interventions following disruptions like the global financial crisis, obviously COVID, some of the recent things that happened and so on, even though this dates back and whatnot. Says, as the country emerges from the pandemic and it's time to focus on crafting more resilient policies, particularly by addressing treasury market vulnerabilities and providing greater prudential oversight, we have to keep in mind that the following is adapted from remarks by the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco to the money marketeers, I should say, on April 15th. Now, of course, that was a while back. Now, check out what it says here. As a lender of last resort, the Federal Reserve plays a vital role in maintaining a sound and stable financial system. But the frequency and scale of Fed interventions following disruptions like what we mentioned earlier with the crisis of COVID and so on. The country, of course, emerged, but look at what it says also down here. This guy grew up in Missouri, gives you a little background, but he says that each time these crazy things happen, flood, collapses of the government and financial system, every time that happened with businesses and sometimes whole communities were affected, they would be forced to higher ground until the water receded and returned to its banks. And that's the key thing. And like a lot of people are like, well, at the end of the day, you got to go back to your bank and pull your either get a loan, pull your money out. What do you do? So it says public programs were there to assist. Teams help people evacuate. Temporary shelters were stood up overnight. There's all sorts of things in regards to disaster. But what is mentioned here specifically is it says the Federal Reserve's role as lender of last resort will always be a critical backstop in the protection against turmoil and dislocation caused by rare or extreme events. But to fulfill the role sustainably, we need to be the last, not the first line of defense. Regularly relying on save-the-day interventions by the Federal Reserve can be costly, resulting in public losses and undesirable risks taking on the part of the private sector. Now, of course, it goes on about the thing about policymakers, and I'm not going to get into that. But my thing is this, with what I just mentioned to you guys, this whole thing of save-the-day interventions by the Federal Reserve can be costly. To me, the answer to what that is, to what's mentioned there would be, for instance, like with Ripple's on-demand liquidity, right? To me, that is the solution. So, Sean, honestly, are we just going to get this utility with Ripple as a last resort?
Well, it's doubtful, but obviously that would be ideal for us. The problem with this, the save the day interventions, right? That's what they said by the Federal Reserve, is that they're not going to save everybody's day, right? There's some of these banks that are going to fail and they're not going to get helped out. Janet Yellen just this last week before Congress stated that exact same thing, that, I believe it was a congressman from Oklahoma was asking her, hey, what, I understand, you did the right thing, what you thought you should do, obviously, to help stave off contagion in the banking sector. But how about all of these smaller banks, in my state? What if they have issues? Are you going to be able to bail them all out? And she essentially said, no, they're going to get together. The FDIC, her, the president, the Fed, all get together and they decide on which banks are important enough to save. And so if you have your money in a smaller bank, you might consider, what she's saying. If there's an issue, the chances of you getting saved, if you've got, I don't know if you've got 100 grand sitting in the bank or 250,000 or more than that, you may have a problem. Now, the FDIC will come in supposedly, right, if the money is still there, to save everybody up to 250K. But most of these banks, most of these big banks, are like 70% of their accounts are over and above that FDIC limit. And so, but they're saying they're going to come in and make everybody whole, even above that limit for these important banks. But your community bank that you might be part of, you've got no chance.
It kind of reminds you, like, for instance, remember when Walmart first came out? You know what I mean? Like the mom and pop stores, it was such a threat. I mean, it just swallowed up all that. We literally are going to have that, but from a bigger, broader point of view.
Absolutely. So the banks basically with these smaller banks failing, they don't care to stop them, right? What this does is this puts that financial power in the hands of fewer banks. And that's what they're looking to do. They're looking to get rid of all these mid-sized banks that they can't really control. And maybe there's, some riskier investments because they may take their deposit money, right? They take the $10 deposit you put in there, they go to the Fed, they borrow $100 against it, and then they put that money into startup companies or into crypto or into something else that the Fed doesn't like. So they're more than happy to take those banks and be like, yeah, you know what, we're going to shut you guys down. You guys have liquidity issues. And then when they sell off, just like they did Signature Bank, they sold it off to somebody but said, hey, you can't have any of the crypto assets. We're not giving you those. So that's what they're doing. That they're dismantling that banking system to put the power in the hands of the largest banks out there.
My goodness, yeah, it's something else. I'm gonna read this comment real quick. Ahmed says $27 per XLM in 2025. To be honest, Ahmed, I mean, to me that's conservative. To me, I think we could be way higher than that. I pointed this out before, and of course, some of you guys have XLM at like 1,000x. At these particular prices by that particular time. I mentioned 100x. It's kind of back and forth with that, but that's cool. All right, Crypto Home says Rain Quant will have huge announcements this year. We'll get back into the outline in just a brief moment. Olamide, Ethereum is probably so the Fed can still do business with China, maybe. All right, good point. McDizzle says XDC Commander is probably a happy mofo today. Yes. He definitely is.
Yeah.
You got to keep in mind, before the pump, we outlined that it was roughly around the 35 to 40K range based on what he had, the value. So with that recent pump, I mean, just take that particular amount at 20%. Yeah, he's not complaining. He's not complaining at all. And there he is. I mean, there you go. So, yeah, you're very happy. Yeah, I know it was a typo. It's fun. Guys, I really appreciate this community that we have here. It's pretty awesome. This journey that we've been on. We're gonna get more into it, but it just, some people ask, like, maybe it was you, Crypto Smith. You're like the other day something like, "Oh my God, you're still here. You're still going. And you're like an animal or something like that." It's not that I'm trying to be an animal. It's just I know the big date's coming up. I mean, and knowing that to see, it's not that like, oh, this is all gonna happen in one day. Obviously, that's not the case, but it just. I don't know. Am I the only one who feels this way? Like, I'm so excited. It's one thing. Yes,
it's exciting, but yeah, and it's. I don't know if you saw all the people today who were, basically mocking, anybody covering ISO or being, getting excited about the ISO,
really?
Release date, right? You're like, oh, I thought XRP and XLM were going to go to the moon today, but obviously that's not the case, right? That's not how these things work. And it's a messaging system that's being released, not necessarily a payment system. So, and also we need to understand that this today is voluntary for financial institutions to start implementing and incorporating the ISO standard into their banking system or financial system. And it doesn't even go, it's not even mandatory really until 3 years from now, November 2025. And I forget where I read the survey, but I've read a survey where it even said only 63% of the banks out there that they surveyed were confident that they were going to be ready by November 2025. So there's going to be some, a lot of onboarding process here and maybe some hiccups, over the next couple of years. But
I get that.
This is going to be a slow ramp, for this kind of thing.
I get that, but I still feel as though it's like volume, will be there, So I saw a few people earlier today, and I think it was on the XDC video. Man, no, it's an XRP video. I was like, I had to put an XRP video. I bet you anything that will do well. So I'm telling you flat out, Sean, you want to get a lot of views? Put out a XRP video today because there's a lot of demand for anything in regards to XRP. Now I'm gonna state this real quick. So a few of you guys, right? Not you guys specifically, but a few guys posted, ISO went live. Nothing happened. You know how you use analogies, Sean? How about this for a particular analogy? So I mentioned the whole thing, last week? El Pollo Loco. And now you're like, oh God, here we go again. Hear me out. I want you guys to also picture this visual, right? So here's one way of looking at ISO 222. You have an old dusty computer, right? Like it's just barely getting it done. You know what I mean? Like you're even running like Windows 7, right? But you're getting no more support, right? You're getting all these little warnings, all these little things saying, the service pack support, there's nothing there. You need to upgrade, all that crap, right? So you're like, oh, maybe I should go to like Windows 10 and so on. But the point is, you finally give in. You buy a new computer. I mean, I'm an IT guy. I would never buy a brand computer. I just put it all together myself, but teaches on. But nonetheless, you go out and you buy a brand new computer. That computer obviously is supposed to be ready to go, right? But you come home, let's say, for instance, it's on a work night, but you're excited about that brand new computer. You're hooking it up, you're installing it and so on. And maybe you're like, oh, shoot, you know what? This is preloaded with all this stuff, but there's service packs. So you upgrade the service packs and so on. You get all fully upgraded. My point is this. You're like, oh, God, you're looking at the time. I got to be up early in the morning tomorrow. Well, man, I guess I'll put off until this weekend all my online shopping and so on. But the key thing is what? The key thing is that online shopping, that's the utility. You just upgraded your computer. Get the point I'm trying to make? Hopefully you do.
Yeah.
All right. I want to welcome back Kev Cleveland, who is in the house. And I also want to read Cool Cats. He said, never told anyone how much XDC I have. Ooh. All right. Is that a threat? Papa Doc, what you gonna do? No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna read one more comment. Rudy Poo says, FedNow partnership with companies who have relationships with Ripple. No direct connections allowed. All right. And Space Chick was thanking us. Well, cool. Thanks, Space Chick. Appreciate you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and highlight her particular one for a bookmark. We're going to get back into the news, but I do want to thank AZ Marine Sniper for subscribing. Thank you very much for that, man. That means a lot. Appreciate you. I guess I'll highlight that particular bookmark instead. Let's kick it in back to where we were at. Now we have, of course, this whole outline for you, and it's good stuff. I mean, some people are like, oh, you guys didn't bring the juicy stuff this week. Well, not exactly, but here at CTN, it's not just about news. It's also about, for instance, education, trying to keep people in the loop on what the heck is going on, because there's a lot that's going on, right? So here was the whole thing about Lulu. And if anything, I'm going to jump down just a little bit more. And here we go. This one guy, he brought it today, in my opinion. All right, so here it is. And it says, again, this is like literally yesterday, but still valid, right? So the world will use a new digital currency as a neutral bridge for global cross-border settlements. It will not be the digital USD, right? Or the Chinese digital yuan, or any proof of stake protocol. It will be backed by nothing. Now, I don't agree with that. To me, it will be backed by something. It's going to be backed by gold. 100% neutral. it says XRP and XLM as global stablecoins. Now I'm gonna pull this up for you guys. And if anything, you know, there's people that responded to this. I mean, you know, you take a blast back to history, right? So, you know, I teach history, I teach other particular subjects and so on, as a teacher and whatnot. But look at this. The US dollar has been the backbone of global monetary flow for decades. Look what's mentioned here. Some of you guys already know about this. In 1971, the US officially dropped the gold standard. This step removes the underpinning from the world's money. And I also think it's funny, Sean, that in 1971, Mr. Klaus Schwab, right, got the whole World Economic Forum going like right after that. Don't you think that's really, really weird or coincidental?
I don't know if there are coincidences, you know, when you're talking about this world's money.
Yeah.
There's a plan for everything.
There is a plan for everything. So I'm going to try to blow this up a little bit. There's all, you know, Mr. I am not a crook, you know, right there. But anyway, Nixon orders 90-day wage price freeze, right? This is all the way back then. Ask tax cuts, new jobs, and broad plans, severs link between dollar and gold. And, you know, some people say, well, you know, Max, that was nothing new. I mean, what about the whole thing that happened back, you know, when, you know, the FDR administration? I hear you. But, you know, again, we got to go back to history to have a broader understanding. Just real quick, I'm not trying to give everybody like a whole big history lesson. I understand it's crypto, but, you know, let's go to the next page. Mr. Nixon's paper standard, right? And of course, there's a whole outline. Even mentions like, you know, 1934, right, dating back to FDR, and so on. But when we go on the right side of this, let me pull that up. This comes up, right? And these guys did a really good job for everything for ISO 222 today. They really brought the fire, in my opinion. Maybe this is juicy stuff. So it says, this change meant that the global payment currency no longer possessed any intrinsic value. Think about where we're at right now. Last night, what did we bring to you guys if you stuck around? Remember you saw the debt clock? Remember all those zeros? Yeah, think about it. So its value was solely derived from the confidence of the world's economies that the US dollar was secure and stable enough to be held and transacted with. As you can see right here, from Reuters, dollar slips as banking turmoil snares market. That was printed on what? That was pretty recent. March 16th of this year. And yes, I did double check this time around, Sean, because of that Cypherium video. And I was like, I can't believe I did it. But
that's all right. It happens.
Yeah. But I want to, you know, draw to you guys' attention. Look at this. On top of that, we talk about intrinsic value. Look at this, guys. With the intrinsic value gone, it meant that the United States was free to print and distribute dollars globally. How many times over the many months you guys have been with us on this show, from beginning to where we're at now, this whole thing about Bitcoin being created, you know, especially the Satoshi white paper, right? And don't get me wrong, that's a beautiful white paper, right? But it's not that Bitcoin was a hedge against inflation. If anything, it's a hedge against money printing. Look where we're at now. Talks of printing more and more money as we speak, raising that debt ceiling. And do these people not realize that now we have valuations of zero? This whole thing of put a Band-Aid on it and we'll worry about it later has gotten to the point where we're at a real big problem. Now, some of these particular, you know, ISOs, Ripple, you name it, right? Are they the particular answer? Well, let's blow this up for a second. So you have the US dollar purchasing power and currency in circulation. You see what has happened since 1971. It dramatically put us into crazy, crazy debt. So some people say, well, Max, there's different things. And I'm with you. I mean, I get the whole thing, and I'm not trying to turn this into a political thing. You know, technically speaking, Bill Clinton came in, he was done. We actually had a surplus at one point. And then, of course, after that, 9/11 happened. That's still, even to this day, messed everything up. And then combine that with a recession from 2009, 2010, roughly in that particular area. That didn't help. The whole thing with the pandemic didn't help. You get the gist. But as we get further into this, look at this purchasing power of consumer dollar. Look how this sucker has plunged. Look at the data. Now you see here from 2007 to where, well, sort of where we're at now. You know, it says purchasing power recovers, but from there, boom, it's just a complete nosedive. So to me personally, the answer to all this is definitely recognizing what we have going on with some of this on-demand liquidity, whether Stellar's XLM, you name it, because it's actually backed by something. Sean, am I too far off base in regards to this, or are we doomed, but we have an answer?
Well, fiat currency in every single situation since the beginning of time has failed, right? There's not been one currency that has outlasted them all. The US dollar is basically, over 100 years. And, it starts off great, but then when they, just like you said, when they got rid of the gold standard and just started printing money because they can print money. And if they need more, hey, guess what? We'll just turn on the machine and we'll have a little bit more here in just a second. At some point, they know they can't keep doing that. They know it's going to end. And they're scrambling right now for a solution to it, but they want a solution that they can control. So, and I've talked before about this notion, where, all of us in crypto at some point, usually in the beginning, we're thinking that, this is going to be decentralized and it's going to be an escape and financial freedom from the government's prying eyes and all this kind of stuff. But that's not ever going to happen. The government is going to control whatever currency we're going to use in the future. Right. And if you think that they're not going to control it, then, I've got a bridge to sell you. It's not part of the plan. And they're trying to figure out the best way to do it. And I don't think that they have enough pieces in place, which is why you're going to see some pushback for another couple of years while the rest of the world, and here's my big problem with the US right now. The rest of the world is already moving forward with CBDCs. Now, I'm not a fan of CBDCs. Obviously, they can be a tool for evil and a tool for total control, like just what's going on in China. But we know it's going to happen, right? And the U.S., I believe, is going to scale their way into it, right? Because we're very skittish here, right? We're very used to our freedoms, and we're not just going to give up just because they say. There's going to be pushback, so they're going to kind of have to slow boil, us into a CBDC, and that's going to put us way behind the rest of the world. So, but you're 100% correct. This chart is horrible looking, but it is correct. And our purchasing power is worse today than it was yesterday, and it's going to continue on that. So, right, there's no way to turn that chart around. There's no way. Right, there's too many dollars out there, and if the BRICS nations are successful in coming up with their own currency, and they're no longer going to use the dollar, which some countries are already starting to do, to purchase oil, right, the petrodollar, that is going to tank the dollar's value even further. There's going to be an excess of dollars out there that countries aren't holding in order to purchase oil, right? So now there's no reason for them to use more dollars. We've got way too many dollars out there. What do? Well, we just keep going down this rabbit hole. And there's no way out except to change the currency.
Yeah, it's sad, but it is the truth, whether it's sad or not. All right, I'm gonna read just a couple of comments. Cool Cat says XDC is gonna be 6 cents by tomorrow. Man, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Olamide, like he said, XDC got his toes tingling. Also, Salamander's got 1.5 million XDC still. I mean, it's like we expect you to raise it. It's more than fine. More than fine. It looks like you got something you want to add to here, Rick, real quick. Is that what's going on? Or are you just pulling something up?
No, yep. I'm just flipping through my Twitter there just to see if any news came up.
Ian Diaz, welcome back. He says, "Hey team, thank you for being here." Ian Garland McLaughlin, XTC way up, man. I remember you ever watch McLaughlin Hour on PBS back in the day? Or you used to watch him?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting show. He had a kind of unique voice, but anyway. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go further down. You guys had some predictions, price prediction of point, or was it 10 cents? Blackwood says, in his opinion, there's far more value in Jasmine than, was that Illuvium, he's saying? Sold my Illuvium for quant. So you guys are doing a lot of swaps from what I've seen for your Illuvium. I mean, we had Blackwood. Who was the other guy? Was it Marine Sniper, I think it was, right?
I don't remember who. Somebody sold their Illuvium.
Yeah,
Jasmine.
And I'm sorry if it's not Marine Sniper, but anyway, Mr. Sniper, I should say. So you guys are definitely. The consensus is you're swapping it for either Jasmine, you're swapping it for Quant. I'm happy at dollar XDC. Yeah, that'll be a great start. Welcome back, Crypto Cash, with the Trump. I'll be back. He says was thinking of selling some ZIL and buy more AG. Oh yeah, Singularity Net. Yeah, we cover that since 4 cents. ZIL, I hold a bag of ZIL, but I overpaid for it. I should have came in like when it was in the 2 to 3 cent mark, right? But it's part of the crypto journey. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that mark. We're going to kick it back into a particular outline. I am paying close attention to that. We're on where we're at on time, Sean. But anyway, so let's get back into what we have for here. Here's a little bit more on this particular outline. So it states, and I'll pull this up. The power of the dollar's monopoly means that the U.S./G10 has the ability to severely restrict a country's ability to function in the global economy. The world is waking up. And the key thing is this. We have mentioned some of these key things and prepared ourselves by doing what? Investing in the new technologies moving forward. We talk about Web 3. In reality, someday, right, there'll be a Web 4, right? So what is this all about? Well, I'm going to zoom in, and this came from FP Analytics. What does Russia's removal from SWIFT mean for the future of global commerce? Removing Russian banks from the SWIFT system is accelerating a global economic realignment. Now, if you're wondering about this, again, this guy has a great outline, and I'm going to give him a follow. His name is just flat out utility. That wasn't planned. We're Utility Talk Now, following a guy by the name of Utility for the Win.
Imagine that. So guys, follow Utility for the Win, because he is the for the win person tonight. So it says Triffin's dilemma expose the flaw in having a country's sovereign currency as the main reserve. Listen to this, guys. This is good stuff. Providing reserves and exchanges for the whole world is too much for the one country and one currency to bear, said Henry Fowler, Secretary of the Treasury. But look here. Yeah, there's our favorite guy, right? It says, however, the U.S. and world have become addicted to money printing. Yeah, how many times we talk about that, right? And like a drug addict, the more they use, the more they become dependent on it. Eventually, this leads to a collapse of both the U.S. dollar and of those economies carrying the unstable money. So with that said, we always talk about this whole thing of, unregulated, well, at least Gilbert Verdian as well, right? Unregulated stable coins. What is going to happen here soon? You already see, at least dating back to last year, the introduction of certain bills. We point out some of the particular representatives from both, Republicans and Democrats who have gotten some of these bills introduced, and where we're going to be at now. I pointed out that it seems like a lot of times when it comes to Congress, especially coming from get newly elected officials, right? You got to keep in mind they just came into office, but in reality, ball really starts, rolling, typically speaking, like around March. I understand that we're at late March, but some people feels like this is more than just a case of a coincidence, right? Like this is absolutely planned. When you get further into this, I want to show you guys this real quick, and then we'll get more into some of the other ISO stuff. So it's printing money. Did you know this? Since the 2009 global financial crisis, and especially since the beginning of the COVID pandemic, has put the world in the grips, of course, of high inflation, instability. Again, the world is waking up. Let's blow that up. U.S. printed more than money in 1 month than in 2 centuries. And that was, of course, back in 2020. Now, of course, we've gone further in debt. Last we checked last night, I think we're at close to 32, maybe it went up, 32 trillion in our particular debt. It's crazy stuff. One more thing. 80% of all U.S. dollars in existence were printed in the last 22 months, from 4 trillion in January 2020 to 20 trillion in October 2021. And you see some of that going on here. So my point is this, you may be wondering, why are you guys giving us a big history lesson? I want people to understand that just like, stocks or crypto in this case, it's a supply and demand. Which ones are part of this particular demand? Which ones at least stand out for you, Sean, in regards to the bigger picture? Which cryptocurrencies?
I mean, I know you got the answer for that, but some guys probably wondering, right? Just in general, right? Is the ISOs for you? Is it Ripple? Is it XLM? Or are you like, nah, that's just way, way, way down the road?
Well, I mean, obviously, a lot of this stuff is still down the road, right? We still got, maybe another couple of years before we really see any, big impact of crypto on the world financial market. A lot of this stuff, inner country is going to have to be negotiated and worked out, right? Like I talked before about BRICS, the BRICS countries, Brazil, China, India. I mean, they have very, very large economies, and if they stop using the dollar for everything, that's a problem. But we're going to have to figure out how to work with that, and maybe have our own separate, that, and maybe create something different that's going to be a competitor to whatever they're creating. So yeah, so ultimately, and look at it, and you guys can do research on this, but when you look at a cryptocurrency, and I'm just going to mention Ripple and XRP because that's my main one. If Ripple goes public, I'm buying Ripple stock.
Oh
Right?
yeah, I remember you mentioned that. Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
I mean, once they get past this case, if this case ends, sometime soon, they're going to go public. They've already said that. Which is also another reason why I think there's going to be some sort of a settlement there, because they have to work with the SEC in order to go public, right? So there can't be a real adversarial relationship there. Otherwise, the SEC is going to make it very, very difficult for them. So once they go public, yeah, who's getting stock? Yeah, this guy. I'm diving into that, and any of these other projects that have real world utility, that have some sort of adoption out there, and they come up with their own company. And if you can get into private equity in some of these, if you qualify for that, it's also something very could be very lucrative in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Great points. Been a great show. We still have, of course, some more for you guys. I want to thank April Cornwell for being here. She said, "Hey, hey, hey, bring in the flowers." Of course, welcome back, Cash. Christian Ray Jimenez says, "Don't sell your cryptos until the crypto regulation is established." I'm just gonna read a couple more. Coinbase does need XDC. I would agree with that. Same with Binance. I mean, come on, get with the picture, right?
Didn't they have XDC on Coinbase at some point?
I don't know about that. I did see that. That must have been before my time. You know what I mean? In regards to my XDC journey. I'll read one or two more. Ian Diaz says, "I'll be honest, I don't tune in live. I tune in during work to get me through my 9 to 5, and it gives me some light into why I buy crypto every day." That's fine, man. The whole thing is this. I love hearing the feedback from some of you guys, especially you. So if you're a person that, Larry mentioned a long time ago, there is people that do watch the replays. I used to say, do actually people watch this and listen to the replays? Here's the proof in the pudding. So Ian Diaz, shout out to you, man. We appreciate you. Thank you for that. Rule Black, he said, "What's up, guys? Rule, you got to come on the show sometime. I think we talked about it last time. I have to get things set up on that. You could either message me on a DM for ctnnetwork.net, or you can actually send me a message on Twitter, which is right up there. I was trying to reach up to something I can't reach up to through the screen. Anyway, right up there at DPG Maximus. So let's kick it back to just a little last bit part of the outline. Shout out to a great content creator, part of the 3T Warriors Academy, and that is Coach JV. He put together a particular one that I want to share with you guys today. And it's this right here. And it was only just like a few hours ago, I believe. I think last night, right? And of course, he says, pay attention to what will happen in Q3 and quarter 4, 2023. Let me go ahead and share that. And we'll play it here. It's only about, I don't know, slightly under 4 minutes, right? He says, pay attention to what will happen, right? We're all paying attention. And this, of course, has a lot to do with ISO 222. Let's go ahead and play this, and then we'll come right back. Smash that like button if you haven't done so tonight. Really appreciate you guys. Know what you have, know what you hold, and why you have been holding it. Here we go.
For the next 3 quarters of 2023, this is what I would pay attention to. Number one is they continue to raise interest rates, the job market. About 2 million people will lose their job if they continue to raise interest rates. But we're in this weird dynamic right now. So here's number two, what I would pay attention to is, do you see how they changed the rules all of a sudden around who is going to get bailed out? So large banks are going to be bailed out. Large banks are going to be able to survive this collapse. So I feel like as they're changing the rules as we go along, that they'll change the monopoly rules for banks, and banks will be able to suck up these smaller banks and monopolize the market. because I want you to think about this for just a moment. Now, I used to work in banking. I went to CBA Executive Banking School. I understand how to scale banks. I understand how expensive these technologies are. And switching to fintech, blockchain technology is not an easy switch. It's expensive, it's time consuming, it also takes a lot of resources. So if a smaller institution, a regional bank, these smaller banks can't handle it, what happens like SVB when a group of people liquidate their money out of it? They don't have the ability to switch and survive. But I think we can agree we're seeing a massive switch in the monetary system. So Q3, Q4 2023, this is what I think is going to happen. FedNow services will be up and running in your banks by August. It's already in the account addendas at Wells Fargo. You can take a look at it. Real-time payments, FedNow services ready to rock and roll. You're going to start to continue to see large banks collapse, a monopolization of banks that are using distributed ledger technology, on-demand liquidity, and they're going to use FedNow services to get the funds into the people's bank accounts as quick as possible to get them rescue money so they can stay liquid. At the same time, the ISO messaging system is launching March 20th. Some of the banks that are ready to go. I don't know if there's a coincidence, but all of this stuff seems timed out perfectly step by step. 2021 bull run, 2022, we had 2 exchanges collapse, stablecoin collapse. They shared with you the cryptocurrencies of fraud, and now your banking system's in trouble. So they're going to come in and save the banking system through on-demand liquidity, real-time payments, blockchain technology, moving money at the speed of light, tokenizing the stock market. What you're seeing is this really crazy transition from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, from industrial to technical, the old banking system, old archaic banking system to the new banking system. The SWIFT system is switching. You no longer going to have to sit with a banker and take 3 days to get your escrow payment from here to Europe. It's going to be fast. It's going to be quick. The messages are going to happen fast. They're going to happen quick. And the whole monetary system will run on lightning rails. Here's the thing. We, as normal everyday citizens, have the opportunity to invest in these innovative technologies. And we'll never have an opportunity like this in our living history again, in my opinion. So those are things I would pay attention to. Is what true technologies are these banks going to use? That's why we're heavily focused on the ISO tokens. So I hope this information reaches you well, because you're going to see these things switch in Q3 and Q4. As the job markets come collapsing down, liquidity gets sucked out of the market. The banks are going to need liquidity. They're going to need money because we're the liquidity. So FedNow Services is going to pump liquidity into the banks. And before we know it, in 2025, we'll be operating on a brand new monetary system. They'll be custodying your crypto. Just my opinion. Warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go. If you need help getting your shit together, join my 120-day challenge. Link in bio. Over 6,000 warriors' lives changed worldwide. See you in the inside. Love you guys.
I know he gets criticized, but you know something? I love that guy. I do. I think he's great overall for all this. He's very well educated. He's got a background in baking. He's mentioned. I just think he's a good guy overall.
Yeah, no, I enjoy watching his content. I usually listen to something he's saying on my way to work in the morning.
Yeah, I do a lot of that where you load up your favorite whatever and you plug it in, you listen to that instead of traditional radio or whatever. I still listen to some traditional radio, but all right, so I'm gonna read a few comments. Oh no, I can't believe this. No,
Oh dang,
you sold your quant and put in XTC.
Sacrilege.
Oh man, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean I have XTC also, but I guess people got to do what they got to do. That's interesting. Well, Bob Smith, consider changing your avatar. Something speaks more about who you are and what you're about. Maybe do an avatar that shows like Gilbert Veridian with a big old X over him, as in the XTC X. That's horrible. Anyway, Crypto Cash says, what was thinking to buy Ethereum but hesitant. I think some people Crypto Smith was mentioning. I mean, I do agree with you on this, Sean. I mean, we both obviously own Ethereum, right? So I just want to state that for the record for everybody. But there is something kind of weird, and maybe I should say maybe something is there in regards to that, because somebody else pointed this out. Like, look, Ethereum doesn't have the market cap of Ripple. Not many people know about. I'm glad that Sky Guo is all over Twitter, but the thing is, he really, really, really is all over it. I mean, you don't see Brad Garlinghouse doing that. But I do get where people are coming from. I mean, Ethereum, I think is like ranked to the 2000s on CMC. Once they get confirmed on that market cap, obviously that's going to leapfrog it to probably at least top 200 probably based off of market cap. But
it's hard for Cypherium right now. And look, I have my reservations as well, but I'm hedging my bet. I'm saying, you know what, maybe it's going to be awesome, or maybe it's not. Right? We don't know. And you're right. And I have the same complaint that to me, Sky is on Twitter, but it seems like he's a developer for a meme token.
Yeah,
right? He's really trying to pump his own bag, and I don't like. Don't you have anything better to do? Like go talk to central banks, or work on your tech, or whatever. But they remember they only have, I think it's like 7% of their supply is even out. They've held on, and that's the answer I got when I was having a back and forth, was because I said in order to be a world reserve currency, you literally have to give up your project. Right? You cannot be the developer or the owner of a project that owns any of the world reserve currency, right? So you're going to have to give that up to the central banks, the world banks, the BIS, right? They all have to have control of that. So is he willing to give that up? Just walk away? How is he going to get? And to be a world reserve currency, the new world reserve currency is going to need to be an ESDR, right? So we know what SDR is, right? That's a reserve currency. They're all fiat right now. And it's kind of a basket of fiat currencies that the World Bank can use to bail out, if there's any kind of crisis. An ESDR obviously is going to be an electronic version of that, like crypto. Well, ESDRs, they've already deemed that an ESDR cannot be held by a private individual. So how are they going to get all that Cypherium back from people who own it, like me and you? Like, what are they going to do? So that's kind of why.
There,
if they use it for Fed now, and they're able to have that use case, fantastic. If they're in with a couple of central banks, and since some central banks are going to use Cypherium and use their technology for cross-border payments or to send money or on-demand, I don't know about on-demand liquidity, but they do have interoperability capabilities as well. So, they can be useful, but yeah, there are, they're just some red flags to me.
Right.
It's not worth not owning for, in my opinion. So for me, it's worth taking a risk.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it too. I just, we always talk about the fear of missing out, right? Which is FOMO. It's like in reality, if we hold these ISOs, and for me, there's this one called Cypherium that we didn't cover because it just doesn't get as much attention as some of these other ones, right? Another one doesn't get much attention, in my opinion, is IOTA, right? I don't hold IOTA yet, but I think that's another one that doesn't get much attention. But anyway, I totally understand where you're coming from. Bitcoin found support. We may see 29K soon. Awesome. Thank you for the update, Coochie Boy. We're going to do just one last quick little thing that was pointed out from Michael Cornwell. Shout out to him. And then from there, we'll read the comments, probably start winding things down, because I told Sean I'm going to really shoot for like no more than the 2-hour mark. I mean that. So, but that doesn't mean people to file out now. We still have quite a bit for you guys. So smash that like if you haven't done so already. Yes, shout out to Mr. Michael Cornwell. Let's go ahead and share some of the content that he provided for us. Always appreciate you, Mike, with your reporting. And here it is. So, Mike tweeted this out, I believe, maybe last night, but I didn't have a chance on that particular one to get into it. I was getting tagged like, I don't know. The thing was going off like Grand Central Station on all these tags last night, Crypto Smith, but good problems, right? Anyway, so it says,
good problems.
Yeah, what are the chances all these happen at the same time? Psh, please, right? So let's blow this up. So Mike is pointing out what you see right here. Federal Reserve, coordinated central bank action to enhance the provision of U.S. dollar liquidity. Again, for our outline today, we talked a lot about some of this stuff, right? So when we get into it, this comes from the European Central Bank Authority, right? And I don't know. Can you see that for the most part? Or do you think I should blow that up more?
You can blow it up a little bit. That's hard to read.
All right, let me try to do this. And for you, Crypto Smith, if you were wondering, like, if you're getting the right URL, it's when it says on the URL pbs.twiming or whatever. That's how you know you got it blown up. I just thought I'd help you out with that if you didn't know that. And then so this comes up. Boom, there it is. That's huge, right? Now it's nice and big, right?
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
No, that's what she said. All right, you guys in your DGen talk. All right, anyway. Statement by Christine Lagarde, president of the European Central Bank on the announcement on 19th of March 2023, yesterday, by the Swiss authorities. It's like, what is this? Well, check it out. Here's the quote. I welcome the swift action and the decisions taken by the Swiss authorities. They are an instrument for restoring orderly market conditions and ensuring financial stability. The euro area banking sector is resilient, with strong capital and liquidity positions. In any case, our policy toolkit is fully equipped to provide liquidity support to the euro area financial system if needed and to preserve the smooth transmission of monetary policy. Now, when we get into more about this, let me jump back for a brief moment. Go to this next particular page, and I'll also blow this up as well. And this is the last part of it, so I'll just actually share it on this particular tab. Hold on a second. So, yeah, there we go. What it says: coordinated central bank action to enhance provision of U.S. dollar liquidity, ESB, and other major central banks to offer 7-day U.S. dollar operations on a daily basis. New frequency effective as of today, to remain in place at least through the end of April to support smooth functioning of U.S. dollar funding markets. So I'm just going to take a brief moment and we'll get back into the rest of this. Remember what Sean was talking about earlier? What about all these other particular banks, right? The onboarding process with ISO 222, you're going to have some ones that, like, they're just not as ISO savvy as some of the other ones, right? I mean, that it honestly exists at any particular business, right? It don't matter what business it technically is. There's ones that are right on top of things, and things go like boom, snippity snip, snappy snap, clockwork, right? But then you also have some of these other ones. So I like how this is mentioned, but check this out real quick. The Bank of Canada, the Bank of England, the Bank of Japan, the European Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, and the Swiss National Bank are today announcing a coordinated action to enhance the provision of liquidity, via the standing U.S. dollar liquidity swap line arrangements. To improve the swap line's effectiveness in providing U.S. dollar funding, the central banks currently offering U.S. dollar operations have agreed to increase the frequency of 7-day maturity operations from weekly to daily. These daily operations will commence today and will continue to at least the end of April. The network swap, like we mentioned before, lines among these central banks is a set of available standing facilities and serves as an important liquidity backstop to ease strains in global funding markets, thereby helping to mitigate the effects of such strains on the supply of credit to households and businesses. I mean, think about it.
Yeah, these central banks are starting to come together. Obviously, they've got to back each other up, right? And that's what they're saying here, backstop, so they can provide each other liquidity when it's necessary. And it's not just the U.S. dollar, but also providing liquidity in all of these other fiat currencies as well. So, I mean, this is what they have to do. They have to work together. Not one of them can fail. You know what I mean? If the central bank, in Switzerland fails, I mean, that's a huge problem, right? And then, businesses and other countries will think about stop doing business. Like, hey, we need to get our funds, into our own country, and they start pulling liquidity from world markets, and that's what creates, the doomsday scenario.
Yeah, and the whole thing is this, right? So we point out, just like what Sean said, guys, these particular scenarios. But it's not that we're pulling out thin air. I mean, you're literally having what? You're literally having this straight from the report from the European Central Bank. We're always talking about the central banks. How many times do we talk about the central banks? Almost like, I don't know, probably don't go more than one day on the show where we don't talk about them. So anyway, glad to bring that to you guys. Shout out to Mike Cornwell doing it big with the reporting. Thought that was pretty cool. I'm going to kick it back into the comments. We'll also, of course, give Mr. Crypto Smith a plug here in a bit, and also pause here in a little bit for station identification. Moonbird says, I made it. Well, welcome. Thank you. That was back at 6:43 my time. So you've been here for about an hour. Cool. You got to see a good amount of the show. Tim Shea on top of it, welcoming Moonbird. Guys, welcome Moonbird. If you haven't seen him already, welcome him to our community. Thank you for being here tonight. Coochie Boy says, thanks, bro. Had it since I was a young lad. Rick at Mushy Hill. Lol. That's awesome. All right. KK is in the house. What's up, fellas? Good to have you here, KK. Great support of the recorded, great support of the live. Really appreciate you, KK. She has states, Coochie Boy, lad sounds like 2-Bit. Would have said that. Yeah, shout out to 2-Bit, great content creator as well. All right, let's go further down. We're probably way behind the comments if it's saying 6:47, Sean. And
yeah, you're an hour behind.
I'm an hour behind. Yeah, but
Yes.
you know, it's good problems, guys. So if you're a content creator and you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to this is what I'm talking about. These are good problems. Might not be a great problem for you in the audience. So like you're like, well, man, this guy's taking forever to read my comment. You gotta keep in mind, like as more and more people flood in, it just makes it that much harder. But if anything, we're a growing community and we're more thankful for some of these good problems. All right. Coochie Boy says, amazing. Soundman, por favor, hit the like button. Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to get further down. Yeah, that was at that time. Max, you're a crypto warrior. Well, thanks for that. Yeah, we had, was it Saturday? We called it Weekend Warriors, right? Because I'm normally not scheduled to come on the weekends. Larry's dealing with this whole thing with his eye. Hopefully, I'll have to catch up with him. Hopefully, he was able to see a doctor in regards to that today. But if he wasn't, I understand. Shout out and thoughts and prayers to our brother Larry. That this whole thing with his eyes won't turn into a worse thing. Because that'd be horrible. All right, Rayan, the problem we have is when we see one coin is pumping and we sold what we have. It doesn't matter if it has value for the future and buy what is pumping. That bad guys just buy a different coin. Okay, thank you for that, Rayan. All right, so let's see here. He says, Sean, I've been watching your channel. I'm probably not even close to the bottom, so I don't know. I'll read a couple more. You know it, bro. We're all
thanks,
early.
KK. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let me see here. Welcome, River. Thank you. Welcome back. Marvin Davis, and it's crazy to see the U.S. suing an American company and accepting it as a Chinese company. Ooh. All right. Yeah, no problem. Space Chick. Let's see here. Salamare says Volt rocks. It does. The last great meme coin, as far as I'm concerned. Blackwood. Hold on. We need a younger and forward-thinking Congress. Dinosaurs need to go. Yeah, term limits and stuff. All right.
Yeah, I was saying that the other day, and then here's a good point for the people in the U.S., right? Why is it that everybody who controls something important in the U.S. is 150 years old? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. All right, so Crypto Cash, I missed that, but what's your opinion on CPH? Yeah, we talked about that earlier. ISO, welcome back. Peace to the best realist channel on earth. And you want to know something? If you think we're the best realist channel on earth, which obviously you do, thank you for that. You need to subscribe to who? This particular guy, who I'm going to first show us on this for station identification. And that is, you need to go to ctnnetwork.net, make a free account, and you can see some of the other coolest guys, part of the, as you would say, the coolest show or whatever on earth. Yeah, here he is. Look at some of the other guys, right? You have Daniel Gate, he's a pretty cool dude. Maria,
yeah, very cool.
Lovely lady. There's Pablo Crow from Volt. There's you, Crypto Smith. There's Waddy. So if anything, you go over here and you click on channel. And what's going to happen is ctnnetwork.net is going to take you to the Sean the Crypto Smith channel. And let's see, at least, I was hoping to get to 7.7. What did I say? 7. Let's try to see this get to at least 7.76. Go subscribe to the Space Crypto Smith. And you wonder, well, who is that? Are you kidding me? It's this guy right here.
That's me.
Yes, co-host. Go ahead and give him a sub. And, just a brief moment. You want to talk about some of the things you cover as of lately, or anything you're looking to also drop?
Yeah, and so I'm working on another XRP video, of course, because I know it's going to be important here coming up. Over the next few weeks, as hopefully we're going to get some sort of word in the Ripple case. I dropped a Jasmine video, didn't do that well, but it was good to get into it. No, Jasmine video I think did well, and my Casper video did not do well. Jasmine, I don't know, I think I got like 2,500 views or something on that one, so it was nice to see. And you never know which one's going to pop off and do okay for you. But just getting into some of the different tokens out there that I don't normally cover. I like to do that. I need to do that once in a while to keep myself, up to date on what's going on. But it's going to be back to XRP, XLM. If we can get some good XLM, I think there's some good XLM content to come out here. And what else? Quant. I need to throw some quant out there as well. Obviously, MMAI. If you're into metaverse or e-commerce, go check that one out. But yeah, just having a good time. Building the channel little by little, trying to get to max status.
Oh, jeez.
It's going to be a while though. It's going to take a minute.
Yeah. Well, Max and Larry. Got to throw Larry in there. If it wasn't for Larry,
of course, Larry.
I wouldn't even be here with you guys. It was a great opportunity for me. Originally, I was just Maximus Crypto. Joined up with Larry at Crypto Talk Now. Here, we're obviously team partners and so on. But yeah, it was just it's been a really awesome crypto journey as a content creator, also as an investor. John Francis says, "Wow, looks like a great turnout tonight, Max. You guys deserve it. Let's go XLM. Damn it! Really hope it really has a genuine utility or decent long-term growth. It does. It really, really does. You just got to keep in mind of where we're at, but where we're going in the future." But thank you for that, John Francis. I think we got well into the 80s tonight on attendance, on concurrence. And then also last night, for Sunday night was I think my personal best. I looked at the stats and it said we had 91 concurrence. So that was pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Yeah, one of these days we'll get it to 100. Last summer I should restate that. So last summer with Larry and I, we had over like 100 together, but I'm just saying like on my own, we all have our own goals and so on. All right. So Rudy Poo says, watching the XDC movement. All right. I'm going to wrap things up here in a second. To see if there's anything specific like questions or anything like that. I want to welcome Crypto 6 Foot. Welcome. Glad to have you here tonight.
Welcome.
Osborne says, "Hey, Max, hope all is well and appreciate all the valuable content you offer. Real quick, is it true that XDC blockchain will be used for CBDCs in South Africa?" I don't have that answer. I'll have to research that.
Yeah, I have not heard that either.
Yeah, that's interesting itself. But here's something I do want to mention that is encouraging. It has nothing to do with necessarily CBDCs, but I want you guys to understand what Ripple brings to the table for not necessarily South Africa, but the continent of Africa, also Southeast Asia and other parts of Asia as well. But anyway, let's go further down. And I do appreciate the question. All right, John Francis says he heard the FDIC only really has 1.5% to cover all banks. Who gets screwed? Probably the smaller investors. You want to comment on that real quick?
Yeah, well, no, he's 100% correct. That's who gets screwed. No, they can't bail out every bank, and they have no plans of bailing out every bank, and it makes their job and their plan easier if they don't. So they will get together and they will decide. They probably already have a list of banks, I'm assuming, that are important enough to bail out.
Yeah.
And then they're going to end up handing crypto over to those banks and to Wall Street. That's the plan.
Yeah. There's a guy I want to welcome for sure. And that is La Grande Commission. If you're still watching, oui, merci beaucoup. Even though he's Spanish, or like he's from technically, where are you from? You are from, I believe you said Venezuela. That's right. So it's like, why does Max do that? It's just an old tradition, guys. You got to keep in mind this dates back all the way back last summer or before last summer. So yes, welcome, Mr. La Grande Commission. Ethereum underwater. The SEC is coming after. I messaged you about it. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I didn't see that until recently.
Yeah, Ethereum could have some issues coming up with the SEC really hasn't filed anything, but in my opinion, the SEC talked to the AG of New York, and New York filed a claim against KuCoin and Ethereum, calling Ethereum a unregistered security, knowing that KuCoin isn't in the U.S. and probably will not show up, for a trial or for a hearing, and therefore the AG of New York will win by default, and they can claim that Ethereum is an unregistered security. Now that would just be in the state of New York, but if Gary can get a couple more states to do that, he'll have all he needs, and that'll be a wrap.
I won't take a deep dive into this, but I'm sorry about the Legrand. I do want to point this out. So just real quick, we're going to still stick to the script of like trying to wrap this up here soon. But if you're wondering about what he's talking about, here it is. This is printed on March 17th, actually, from FX Street. SEC's Gary Gensler wants proof of stake Ethereum to be regulated as security. Will traders turn to ETHW? Ethereum developers behind, of course, the Proof of Work project have proposed the formation of an all-in-one ecosystem DAO. The Securities and Exchange Commission, Gary Gensler, recently implied that proof of stake project like Ethereum be regulated. We know about that. How about this? Amidst the recent crackdown of regulators, ETHW could gain relevance and market share, fueling a rally in the token. Interesting stuff. Maybe we'll take more of a deeper dive into this tomorrow, Legrand. I'm just trying to wrap things up here in a bit. I know sometimes people get spoiled with the whole, Max is going to go 4 or 5 hours. I'm not doing it tonight. I'm respecting this great guy's time, as well as some of the other guys who maybe not even like that long show. But I do appreciate you, Legrand. Thank you for that. And I'm just going to read a few more before we wrap things up. Rain says 37 years in, I'm going to retire for sure if I'm still alive. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, I think I know what you mean. Like God is great, God is good. OV Crypto, I keep calling you OV, sorry. OV, I know it's OV. We'll have the last laugh. We all done our research, yes. Or in some cases, some of you guys packed a lunch for some of that research, right? That's what you mentioned last time. All right. And let's see. I'm just going to read a few more. You listened on your phone tonight? That's cool. All right. World Economic Forum in 71, the son of a Nazi is dictating how the world should operate. That's a good point. All right. Will ISO dominate gaming? Dominate gaming in all-time highs? I don't know about that because it's just a messaging standard. All right. Some good comments. BSV actually follows the white paper. Yeah, I got, I know Crypto Smith was shocked that I got into BSV, but I did get it. And guess what? I'm in the profits. Do you know that? I'm not complaining. I'm actually in the profits.
You know what they say? If the outcome is income, you made the right choice.
Well, I feel like I did. I was just like, you know what? It ain't going to hurt me to throw a little bit at this. You never know. And I was glad I did so. So anyway, and we've actually covered it, I think, at least 2 times now on the recorded video in the recorded video section. All right, Moonbird says he works in the government. They are the true, Nazi Gestapos. Jeez, yeah. All right. Sure. All right, just gonna read a couple more. Man, you guys got some great comments here tonight. Let's see. Wayne Side, welcome, man. Good to have you here again.
Wayne Side.
Samuel Kim. Not sure if it's a dumb question, but can Fed take dollars out of circulation?
Well, they do take dollars out of circulation, usually old dollars, but you mean just take dollars out of circulation just to reduce the supply? That's not really a mechanism that they can account for.
Right. That's a beautiful thing about blockchain because you can track all that. Where on the other hand, how are you really going to keep track? They know how many dollars have been printed. How can you keep track of the actual physical paper dollars is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then you got to wonder where they're going to take those dollars from, right? If they're going to take a big block of billions or trillions of dollars, where's that coming from?
Right. Andre says holding XRP and XLM stellar. That's good, man. H-bar. All right. Let me see if there's any other comments, any specific question. We got about another minute. Because I don't know if Crypto Smith is a believer in me actually stopping at the 2-hour mark. He better be a believer. We'll come close to it. I'll probably give him one last plug or something.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. Andre Fernandez, welcome. Is connected to the FedNow and Federal Reserve. Yep. CPH would be the gas. You know what? We covered that in a particular video. I literally in the thumbnail mentioned about CPH being the gas. Ain't that funny? Glad you guys know your stuff. That's cool. That blonde lady from the video Max shared a week or 2 ago was thanking people who invested. Good point. Michael Montclair, welcome. I sold my XTC for more XRP. Oh, see, man, you guys are just. You guys
don't do that.
Who was the other guy? Did some similar like
quant for
quant, and now you have this. What's going on with you guys?
I can totally understand selling like Illuvium or something like that. That's kind of on the periphery, for a better, what you consider to be better. But man, selling a solid project. And XRP, there's nothing wrong with that, but yeah, I hate moving money out of one and getting into another like that.
ISO is like, no shame in switching to another ISO for no, don't want to hear that. No. All right, Marvin Davis, are any of you into SHX and APL? I don't know what those are. Maybe CryptoSmith does. I'm just trying to see if there's any other particular comments I want to welcome. Go ahead.
No, I just said no. I'm not into those.
Rick at Mushy Hill. That is quite the name, you know. He said, thanks. You're very welcome. Edward Vincent, thank you, man. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Edward. Appreciate that.
I had Pablo's boys so mad oh no. You guys got to stop trolling Mr. Crow. I know you guys do that once in a while, but I didn't send you, that's for sure. All right, Roll Black, congrats, Max. 90 concurrent is made. Yeah, it was actually 91. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's pretty sweet. That was my personal best. Of course, Max, you know, the Max and Larry show, we haven't had that in a long time, but we've had well over that in the past and so on. I'm just saying for personal best. All right, so Mike Cornwell, we shared some of your stuff. Thanks for being here again, Mike. And I think we're close to the bottom. Let me see. Cody Core's in the house. He always comes at the very end. I guess because he likes me putting him to sleep, he says. All right, Burke, welcome back. All of his stables are in ISOs right now. Very cool. Welcome back, Miguel. Can't wait till Japan adopts Jasmine. Yeah, that's the way I look at it, man. I'm right with you on that.
That'd be good.
We don't cover a lot of AEW2 and IOTA, but we're totally aware of them. I think they're solid, just off the surface. I just need to take more of a deep dive into them. I know the Energy Web is a lot more expensive. I think it's like $340, something like that, maybe close to $4. Kind of expensive, but lower supply. All right, so we're going to read this last comment from Marvin Davis. SHX is Stronghold on. That's right. You're right.
Yep.
I do know about Strong. I just didn't know the ticker symbol. On Stellar and APL is Apollo, the African Ripple. Interesting. I just learned something new about APL. Didn't know it was the African Ripple, but I did know about Stronghold. I just didn't know about the ticker symbol. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to give ourselves one last plug for station identification. So if you enjoy our content and you're like, you know what, I don't want to be like Jay. Shout out to Jay, aka Jose, and I don't want to flood Max's DM on Twitter with a bunch of info. And I do appreciate it, Jay, if you're watching. But if anything, all you got to do really, if you want to get this more notice to a broader crowd other than just me, you can go over to ctnnetwork.net, create a free account. It doesn't cost anything at all. We feature not just our content, we feature other people's content. As you go scroll down, you see Waddies, you have Crypto Smith, you have Marie Anderson, you name it, right? But the cool thing is you can actually message some of us. So I know some of you guys don't like Facebook, you don't like Twitter, you're like, I hate those things. It reminds me of high school all over again. Hey, I totally get it. But you can message members of the community. If you like CTN, you should like the community for the most part, right? So if anything, if you wonder how to do that, after your account is made, you would click on members over here. This comes up. And basically, you see other people, like, for instance, your Space Chick. I'll give her a follow. And there's also Rule, right? And Rule is also a content creator. We'll get into that in just a brief bit. And you'd be like, yo, Rule, you the man. Your channel rocks ors my box ors. Right? Talking gamer talk, right? And then he'd be like, yeah, that's right. So anyway, you could do stuff like that, have conversations. But the other thing I was going to mention, like for instance with Rule or even Sean, he's right on it. When you go to the homepage, there is a creators tab, and in that specific creators tab, you see other people that you're familiar with, right? Shaka, right? Obviously Daniel Gayton, but even Sean the Crypto Smith. So let's take you to Sean the Crypto Smith's channel. He is a co-host here today for Mondays, Utility Talk Now. He's also here with us on Wednesdays, and he has his own show. Here is his particular YouTube. So you know what this tells me, Sean?
What's that?
Obviously, all these guys are already subscribed to you because this didn't tick up to 1.76. So obviously, we have regulars.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
They come in waves.
We come in waves. So,
yep.
if you are new, follow him, not just because he's a cool guy, but he does have great content. Like, he has great perspective. So here's some of his particular videos. Like I mentioned earlier, he did Casper 3 days ago. I watched that one. I even retweeted that one 2 times because I told people, I said, you know what? You did a really good job on giving people like the quick gist without doing like a super long deep dive about Casper, about how basically it not only is it scalable, you mentioned it's modular, how about the workflows, the partnerships. Very well put together video. If you're on the cusp, think about getting it. You're welcome. If you say on the cusp, guys, think about getting the Casper, but you don't want to watch an hour-long deep dive like Maximus does or something. You can go over to the Space Cryptosmith, all one word on the Cryptosmith. Watch that particular one, and he keeps you right into it. He has a B-roll. He has footage of like shipping containers and everything of the supply chain. Really cool stuff. You made a really high quality video. I highly recommend you take a look at that particular video. And then on top of that, he has a live show every single Saturday on his platform of the Cryptosmith. And it's referred to as Straight Talk. And with that said, Sean, do you want to take it away and explain what's going to happen for this coming Saturday show?
Well, this Saturday show, obviously, I'm going to be talking about the ISO going live, and we'll talk about the XR or the Ripple case ending maybe sometime soon, in the FedNow system, and then anything else that might happen. Right, a lot of times I'll have an outline, and have something good planned, and then the comments, the comments will take over, and we'll start talking about whatever it is people in the comments want to talk about. So,
right,
yeah, that's how it goes. It usually changes, midstream, but that's what I talk about.
Very cool stuff. I'm just going to read just like maybe
I'll
2 more comments or something
for the sub.
Yeah, thank you, Burke. That's awesome. Thank you for supporting Sean, the Cryptosmith co-host with us, great member of our CTM fam. LR, I will read this. Thank you so much for even just coming here and even taking the time to post that. He says, best of luck, guys. I have SHIB on Kronos blockchain. I'm trying to see what cold storage wallet may accept it, but if there is a way to switch Kronos back to Ethereum blockchain. So I don't know on going back to Ethereum in that regard. That's a good question, though, and thank you for commenting on that.
You haven't messed with that.
Yeah.
Not messed with that. Marvin Davis says he just subbed. Oh, I guess he just subbed to his channel. Maybe that's my channel. I want to look up APL. So that's Apollo. I will definitely take a look at that. I will definitely take a look at that.
So Mofud, welcome. Glad to have you here tonight as well. Thanks for showing up. But also, Maximum Max, your story about SHIB. Yeah, you guys know my story about SHIB. I mean, if it wasn't for SHIB, I wouldn't even be here. All right, got Zach Rector in my space. So yeah, by all means, guys, after this show, or you're doing it as we speak, Zach Rector, great content creator. He has great research, in my opinion. He does it really, really well. All right, I might actually have to check that out myself. All right, so let's go further down. Equilibrium got a great statement. I'm just trying to see if there's any specific questions, and that I think wraps it about up. Here's a one for you, Cryptosmith.
Smith knows when I say get the fry sauce on the chalky box. Yeah, you must be an Idaho guy or girl. I'm assuming you're.
Hey, speaking of which, all right,
fry sauce.
Do you have Arctic Circle in your?
Yes.
Oh, they got the best French fry sauce in the world.
Yeah, that's a place we've got here. It's I don't know, not my favorite.
But their French fry sauce is amazing, eh?
Yeah, well, that's the thing I learned when I moved to Idaho. They have finger steaks and they have fry sauce, and so the first time I went into a place, we got something to eat, and they said, "Do you want fry sauce with that?" I'm like, "Do you mean ketchup?" Like, I'm assuming that was what they were talking about, but no, they have a specific fry sauce that they do here in Idaho, and they do finger steaks, which are phenomenal if you can get them at the right place.
Yeah. So to answer this question, Miguel, and I'll wrap it up. And that basically is this, what I think about SHIB. I think that's what you're asking. I'll just leave it at this. So originally I had over $1 billion in SHIB, did very well with it. Basically took a big portion of that, reinvested into crypto and got back into it. Still have over $1 billion SHIB and staked for the longest time before crypto.com got rid of it. So I still believe in SHIB. I know I don't talk about it a lot, but I still think there's something there for SHIB. And I'm not really a big fan of most meme coins, but to me, it's kind of like Doge, Shiba Inu. If I had to pick one, I go with SHIB. I think those few are like, as I would say, like the Coca-Cola and Pepsi of the meme coins. So yeah, that's the way I feel about SHIB. I think it's still going to be a good project, even with some of the recent FUD. All right, finger steaks equals steak fries from Edward Vincent. Give him a follow too on Top Shelf Crypto, guys. And with that said, I'm not going to read any more comments. Sorry, guys, but I'm going to wrap it up. Didn't quite get the 2-hour goal, but I think I did a lot better than last week.
You darn close.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that said, we are going to give Sean the last words, and then we're going to wrap it up. Take it away.
Well, as always, I really appreciate being here and being part of the CTN family, Max and Larry, of course. I don't see Larry as much as I'd like to, but it's still super cool for me to be here, right? Starting a YouTube channel back in May, last year, hasn't even been a year yet. For me to be doing this is beyond my expectations for sure. So I do appreciate the support from everybody out there in the community, everybody who's subscribed and watched my videos and comments and all that. It's awe-inspiring, really, to do this. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not the easiest thing to get up, put your face out there, say things that people may disagree with, and then put out content day in and day out. It's a tough gig, but you do it well, and I do appreciate the support from you.
Well, you're very welcome, and glad to have you. And if anything, guys, it's been a great show. Thank you for tuning in. If you go over to, for instance, Zach Rector, I mean, he's I don't know, probably like 5 or 6 times our size. Maybe you could just tell him, hey, Max and Crypto Smith of CTN sent you, and let him know that we always appreciate his content as well, and to keep up the good work. And with that said, everybody, thanks for, again, join us here tonight. We'll be back here at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for more Crypto Talk Now. I think there's going to be something big, just my feeling, that's going to happen within the next couple of days. So thanks again, guys. It's been a great show. We will see you on the next one. Over and out.